All right, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahawah Bahasham, Yahawashi Bahasham Ha Rakat Kwadash. Double honors unto our apostle elders, which ruled great millstone well, and which taught us the truth. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abba ba. Forgive me. Right when I sign up, my computer crashes. I've never seen that before. That pop up. I'm a reboot. Forgive me. Once again, right now as I'm trying to start this sit down, you see I'm having errors on my computer, which we know there's spirits that are created as stumbling blocks, but we got to overcome. And we overcome in the blood of Yahawah Shem Yahawashi. There we go. Finally shut down. It wouldn't let me shut it down. And this is Microsoft. And this kind of happened not exactly like this, but I got blocked out of my tablet when right before they did that shutdown, worldwide shutdown, where they canceled all those flights and everything. It was a Microsoft so-called hack, you know. But really, when you understand the hacking, it's the inside. It's an inside job, you know. There's certain information you gotta have to be able to hack, you know, a certain industry. You gotta be involved on a pretty high level to have certain information to be able to hack a company. Hey, it was all happening at 441 441, which is the right way of 144. Kala Yabashim Yamshai. Today is Wednesday, February 19th. So once again, we'll just jump on a couple reports in the news, and we'll get some scripture to edify, showing the Israelites that have faith in the word of Yahweh Shem Yahawashi, that we are in the last days, and the few prophecies that remain, you know, they're about to come to pass because Yahawashi is coming back. All right, which we know there's a lot of violence in the world right now. violence. So let's go ahead and get that. Because just like in the time of Noah, it was going to become violent. So I went to the news. I just put violence or violent time, which the rapper, he's been in the news. Rihanna's husband, ASAP Rocky, he was found not guilty. All right. But this is showing you the violence that is in this culture, the violent times that we're in. All right. It was prophesied that this would be a violent time. Matthew 24, verse 20. Matthew 24, verse 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. So the only one that knows the day of the Lord is Yahawah. All right. The Son don't know, the angels don't know, we don't know, no man knows the day or the hour, but we are to watch, be circumspect of these prophecies coming to pass, showing us that it is we are in the last days. All right. So it says in verse 37, in fact, let me grab that. Let me see. That was in let me see. I posted it today on my channel. It says in Proverbs 25, verse 2, it is the glory of power to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out the matter. So we're to be searching out the matters, which the whole matter is what? It says in Ecclesiastes 12, verse 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahawah and his son Yahawashi, and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. All right. So going back to Matthew 24, verse 37, but as the days of Noe were, which is speaking of Noah, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be, the return of Yahawashi. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah, entered into the ark, which he condemned the world by building the ark in faith, moved by fear. He was given that grace to build that ark, and his family was delivered through that ark by the power of Yahawah, Yahawashi. All right, and we're hoping to be delivered in this judgment, which is the second death. The flood in the time of Noah is the first death, and this time the judgment will be fire, and it's the second death. All right, so everybody's going to be ignorant to his return, but his elect. Verse 39, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Now, when you go to Genesis 6, it became a wicked place, the world. It says in Genesis 6, verse 1, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born unto them, that the sons of power saw the daughters of men, so the other nations' daughters, that they were fair, they were pretty, and they took them wives of all which they chose, which they took the heathen women and made them wives. And Yahawah said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, because what happens is they cause them to worship idols. So then, forsaking our power, and that's why we're in this flesh. We sinned, and so we're in this mortal flesh. All right. For that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years, which he even pulled that back to, I believe it's 75 now. You know, you're like, once you get to 75, you lived a full life according to the scriptures. All right, he lessened the days of man because man got wicked. All right, real wicked. Jumping down, it says, I'll read right through verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Yahawah came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare sons or children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old men of renown. And power saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. See, and that's what time we're in right now. It's a wicked generation. Their minds are only on doing evil. All right. So just getting a couple articles. All right. Once again, Rihanna's reaction the moment ASAP Rocky was found not guilty for what? For felony assault. All right. You gotta remember he's a role model to the Jake, to the Jake that watches hip hop, this man and his wife, all right, which are also Jake. When I say Jake, I'm talking about the sons of Jacob, the Israelites. All right. They look up to this couple, and what are they doing? They're violent. All right. Now, let's go into another article. Okay, don't want to open. But it says 3 children found. Let's see. All right, what about these planes crashing? All right. These planes crashing, right, is a sign of the end too. It says in Isaiah 19 that this place would fail. All right. It says in verse 1, Isaiah 19 and 1, the burden of Egypt, which is talking about America. Look on the back of $1. All right. It says it has the great seal of America on the right, and it has the pyramid on the left, and it says 1. It doesn't say $1. It says 1, that they are one. All right. The burden of Egypt, behold, Yahawah rideth upon a swift cloud, a chariot as a throne, and shall come into Egypt, which in fact he's going to send his son in that glory, Yahawashi, with the host of heaven. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt, which it's going to suffer nuclear destruction according to the prophecies. In the midst of it, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptians, which I just saw, or I should say, listened to a video on that, and they said that America was divided. All right, let me look it up real quick. And it was like 75% believed that America was divided. I'll say I put Americans are divided, which AI on Bing is just pretty much like Google. It's a search engine. So I put Americans are divided, and what I put up, it says it's true. The political landscape and social issues have highlighted deep divisions within the country, which the scriptures say, Shalom Akim, Shalom, may you endure into the end, Shalom, Yahawashi. It says, it's true, the political landscape and social issues have highlighted deep divisions within the country, which the scriptures say, well, really, Yahawashi said, if a house is divided, how could it stand? Let's see. It says, Luke 11 and verse 17, but he, knowing their thoughts, being Yahawashi, knowing their thoughts, said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against a house falleth. So that's the future of America. All right, and really it's already crumbling. It's crumbling right now around us. We're the witnesses to watch the glory of the Father take place. All right. It says these differences often come down to varying perspectives on topics like the economy, healthcare, education, and social justice. All right. So they're broken up about the system that they live in, which it tells you in the scriptures in Proverbs 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And that's what's happening right now. The people are mourning because the wicked Edomite, the so-called Caucasian, is ruling. All right? So it says in Isaiah 19, verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, which are the Americans today, and they shall fight every one against his brother, which that didn't happen in ancient Egypt. He's talking about today, all right, in this spiritual Egypt, America, and everyone against his neighbor, and it's going to be because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And you can see the city against city because, you know, some cities are Republican, some cities are liberal, some cities are Democratic, right? So they're going to be warring against each other. Some cities are going to be Jake, some cities are going to be Edom, some cities are going to be enabled to have some form of a little system going on longer than another place, you know, because some places are going to be just straight up in war in America. Some places are, you know, you're going to have these preppers trying to, like they show the home front, you know, where they're trying to make a little paradise in the midst of all this war. All right, it's going to be chaotic all over America, okay? They're going to fight against each other for resources, and this is in 2nd Ezra 15. Second Ezra 15. And this is why the Lord set up the prophets. It says in verse 1, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people, which are the Israelites, the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. And that's why we're able to do so many videos and break them down, right? Is because the Holy Spirit is upon us, moving us, all right? And we're prophesying, sighing and crying about all the abominations that are being done in the midst of Israel, all right? Talking about the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, all right? And that's not everybody, but that's the foundation of the prophecies. When you go into the prophecies, you can see the 12 tribes, you know, the so-called Negro to the so-called Mexican fitting those prophecies. All right. That's how we know through the spirit of faith. It says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. So they've been made public through the Bible, which even had Israelites break it down. King James, that's why you have a King James version. He took it from, it was in the Hebrew, the Greek, and the Latin, and then eventually went into the English, the King's English, but you have it now in different versions. You have an English version, you got the NIV version, you got the all kinds of different versions. All right. But the Holy Scriptures have been preserved for the Israelites, for salvation. All right. It's a covenant. And I looked that up today. All right. And the covenant, the word covenant, it says a covenant pertaining to a noun. It says an agreement. And this is just, you know, pulling it up in the dictionary. It says similar. And what stood out to me was understanding. All right. Understanding. And then the next part, it said, which that's what we're getting in this time. We're getting understanding. All right. Which the Lord said, if you get anything, get understanding. It says, law, a clause in a contract, theology, an agreement which brings about a relationship of commitment between Yahawah and his people. And it's all done through Yahawashi. It says the Israelite faith is based on the biblical covenants made with Abraham, Moses, and David, which the Israelites are going to receive these promises, which is Romans 9. Romans 9, verse 4, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants, which we were given the laws in sinful flesh. The new covenant is we're going to get the laws in flesh that does not sin, and will be with Yahawah and his son Yahawashi forever, which will never die because we'll never sin. Our bodies will never desire to sin. And the giving of the law and the service of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, and the promises, whose are the fathers, the Israelites, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Israelites, Hamashiach came, who is over all, Yahawah blessed forever. Amen. Which Yahawashi is the King of Kings. All right. So going back to 2nd Ezra 15, I'm going to jump down to bring to verse 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. So this is talking about America, which is spiritual Egypt, and he's going to plague this Egypt like he done to ancient Egypt before, and will destroy all the land thereof, nuclear destruction. Now I'm going to jump down to verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. The so-called white race, their time of ruling is ending. It says, and their biblical name is Edom. All right? They are red. They are not white. They are red. They are the red devil the Bible speaks of. It says, for the sword, which is that so-called white race, which they're a weapon of mass destruction, and their destruction draweth nigh, because there's not going to be no need for them. All right, the world is going to go into peace, and their blessing is to take peace from the earth. Revelation 6. All right, they were given power to take peace from the earth. That's why they create weapons of destruction. All right, so their time is about to end. When Yahawashi returns, he's going to end them and put them in slavery under the Israelites. It says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one and another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So you're going to have Egyptian against Egyptian in America. All right. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, because you're going to have the borders locked down, civil war, all right, martial law. It says, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, which in Isaiah 13 and Zechariah 14, it tells you that they're going to plunder your goods, including the women. All right. And it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, which includes their women, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right. So going back to that Isaiah 19, verse 3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail. And that's why you see them getting rid of the dollar, getting rid of the penny, which is a denomination of the dollar, right? Which when you go into the history, all right, that's what started America, was them making their own currency, setting themselves apart from the crown. All right. So that's a sign of their downfall. The spirit of this place failing, the planes falling out of the sky. All right. These are all signs of the times. We are at the end of the so-called white man's reign of terror. All right. The red devil, Edom, spoken of in the scriptures. All right. It's the end of his age, the end of his eon. It says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. I will destroy the counsel thereof. Which they're trying to make up all kinds of excuses of why these things are happening. But it's the end. That's what it is. It's the end. All right. It's the beginning of the kingdom of heaven, but it's the end of the kingdom of wickedness. All right. It says, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards, which the WEF, I believe it was, they just had that witch, breathing on them. Let's see. Yep. It says shamanic ritual at WEF, which they had a witch. All right, let me see if I can pull up the image right there. See, they're losing it. So they're seeking wisdom through these witches. Why? Because the spirit of Egypt is failing. All right. So once again, I'm going to read that again. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, Yahawah of hosts, which it tells you in Isaiah 14, verse 1, for Yahawah will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. That's what we're about to see. The world is about to see us be gathered, saved from judgment, which that judgment is the nuclear destruction of America. And we're going to be picked up in what you know in this world as the so-called UFO. All right? And they're coming to pick us up and judge the world. Yahawashi is the King of Kings, and he's going to declare it through judgment. We're heralds. We're declaring it through the word, right? But he's actually going to come and make it happen. He's the one that is going to be shedding all this blood that we're speaking about. That's why they're seeking the wizards and warlocks and witches, trying to find an answer, because they're afraid. Who's afraid? Them that are in the power seat of this wicked society. See? They know that they have a judgment. There's a CIA, I believe it is. I shared it on another video, but there's a CIA document that's called Adam and Eve, and they know that they only have a limited time. Or you have the Illuminati plan that Apostle Gabar is always talking about. All right? Because they know they have a limited time. It's in, let me grab it. It's in the Apocrypha, Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon 2, verse 1. It says, for the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright, our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. So they have no faith, neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. All right? So they know that they're going to die, and this is how they reason. It says in verse 4, our name shall be forgotten in time, and no man shall have our works in remembrance, because after 1,000 years, they're going to be made extinct. It says, and our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, not to be remembered, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun and overcome with the heat thereof. Because when the Lord comes back, he's going to burn them up, burn their kingdom up. The only ones that are going to survive on the earth, they're going to hide in the rocks and in the mountains and in the ground, right? The rich, they got bunkers. They're building bunkers right now. All right? Let's get that. We'll put rich building bunkers. Rich men building bunkers. Which I already know this because, they got a show called Preppers. All right, and that's a show on men building bunkers. It says why. This is interesting engineering.com. All right, and you can see it for yourself. It says billionaires Billionaires are buying islands and building secret bunkers. But why? See, they're getting away from America and they're building bunkers because there's going to be nuclear destruction. Excuse me, real quick. All right. So once again, billionaires are buying islands and building secret bunkers. But why? Why? Because there's a judgment coming. All right, nuclear destruction of America. All right. So it says in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 4, it says, "And our name shall be forgotten in time, and no man shall have our works in remembrance, and our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun, and overcome with the heat thereof. For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning." And that's why Isaiah 14, he's going to extinct them. Verse 21, it says, "Prepare slaughter." And the way we prepare them for slaughter is by telling them their judgment, right? It says, "Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them," who? Edom, the so-called white race, and the other nations. It says, "saith Yahawah of hosts, and cut off from Babylon," aka America, "the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith Yahawah." All right. And the elite of Edom know this. They know it. All right. It says in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 6, come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. So they're trying to bring us back into slavery, right? With that MOTB. It says in Revelation 13, verse 12, I'll start at 11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and this beast is America, and he had two horns like a lamb," the Republican and the Democrat. And they talk like they're out to help you, protect you, right? But really, they're your enemy. "And he spake as a dragon." Dragon goes back to the draconian law, which started with the Greek Edomites, but the Roman Edomites picked it up later. All right. "And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast." And that's why even Elon Musk, when he was doing that interview in the Oval Office, all right, he said these laws are not draconian of Trump's executive orders. All right, because a lot of people are noticing that it was draconian, the things that he was doing, right? Which he's talking about pretty much executing so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. That's the whole point of the termination. All right, when you get terminated, terminated means destroyed. Let's look up that word. All right. terminate, bring to an end. It says, have its end at a specified place or of a specified form. See? The end of a pregnancy. See? End of the employment of someone. Dismiss, assassinate someone. See? So they're terminating, all right, federal employees. That's in the news, in which I just read. They're going to go into each other's neighbors, into their homes, because the lack of bread and for great tribulation. It says over 3,500 IRS employees in a single division expected to be terminated. See, and if you can't buy food, you starve to death. See? And in America, it's a crime to be homeless. So they're going to make it to where they're able to persecute you. Let's see. It's a crime to be homeless. In the U.S. It says not a crime. Being homeless is not a crime in the United States. However, see how they do that? It says people experiencing homelessness can face punishment such as expensive tickets, citations, forced evacuations, which they destroy their stuff, and even arrests and incarceration. So it is a crime. All right? It is a crime in America to be homeless. All right? But what are they going to do to the Israelites that believe in Yahawah Shem Yahawashi? They're going to kick them out their homes, destroy their goods. Persecution. That's what time we're coming in. That's why they set up that executive order with that federal group of agents to go after Christian bias, which really they don't want the truth coming out because they can't go against the truth. So they got to come down with the sword. So it says, eradicating the White House. This is from the whitehouse.gov website, all right? Right here. It shows you that they're going to be persecuting the prophets. All right? It says eradicating anti-Christian bias. February 6, 2025, the year of judgment. We hope for judgment. Executive order. It says, by the authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, purpose and policy. It is the policy of the United States and the purpose of this order to protect the religious freedoms of Americans and end the anti-Christian weaponization of government. The founders established a nation in which people were free to practice their faith without fear of discrimination or retaliation by their government. See? But this is only for the so-called Christian, the so-called white supremacists, right? Because what do they push in these Christian churches that are really antichrist? All right, they push lies of a so-called white Jesus, which is a goddamn lie. All right? It says, for that reason, the United States Constitution enshrines the fundamental right to religious liberty in the First Amendment. Federal laws like the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993, as amended, it puts the code, further prohibit government interference with Americans' rights to exercise their religion. So they're doing this as a fork-tongued devil, because our religion, all right, which religion, the word religion, it just means rules, all right? It just means rules. Let me get that. Religion. Etymology. It says the word religion comes from the Latin word religio. Let's see. As a noun, state of life bound by monastic vows. It says also action or conduct indicating a belief in a divine power and reverence for and desire to please it. See? Piety, devotion, respect for what is sacred, reverence. And it puts in gods, but in America is the land of confusion. So here you can worship any god you want. All right? Look, in lecture, now learning from books, what books which pertain to this is the scriptures. Because it says entries linking to religion, which it says lecture, read, breathe, and then lecture. Okay? It says this noun of action was derived by Cicero from religere, go through again. See, reading over again and again and again. It says in reading or in thought, from again, legere, read, see, lecture. See, and that's what we do in the streets. We lecture about what is true. But it tells you here that they're going to persecute us because of what we teach. It says in verse 10, let us oppress, Wisdom of Solomon 2, verse 10, let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient great hairs of the aged. Let our strength be the law of justice, which they don't push the laws of the Bible, right? They make up their own laws. It says, for that which is feeble, which they are feeble, is found to be nothing worth. So they make laws to protect themselves. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objected to our infamy, the transgressings of our education, right? Which they teach you, so-called white Jesus. Let me see. Oh yeah, there we go. But you could put it in like that. I put Caesar. All right. Jesus Christ is Caesar Borgia. That's who it is. And before that, it was Serapis Christo. All right. Because the Bible speaks of reincarnation. All right. Which this is a lie. Borgia, Caesar Borgia was an Edomite. All right. But the scriptures describe him as a so-called black man with a Hebrew name, speaking Hebrew. See? So Christianity is a goddamn lie. All right? So then when you go into let's see. The White House and their eradicating anti-Christian bias executive order, all right, second paragraph, it says further prohibit government interference with Americans' rights to exercise their religion. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Let me put religion in the blue letter because I know it tells you. It says this is James chapter 1 verse 27, pure religion and undefiled before Yahawah our power and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, which are the Israelites, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. So our religion is pure. We visit you through these videos, right? And then we actually keep ourselves pure as we walk this out, all right? Which the Lord's eventually going to give his elect spiritual power to help deliver the believer that is an Israelite, all right? He's going to deliver us to power, all right? He's going to send his son, Yahawashi, in that power, all right? Right now, we even got the power to prophesy, all right? He's never really left us powerless completely. He's never forsaken us. We're the ones that actually chased after false gods, and that's why we're in captivity under the heathen, all right? Turning back to that pure religion, being in this truth, teaching it, learning it, eating that whole roll, and teaching it, and then keeping ourselves unspotted from this world. All right? It says in James 1, verse 26, if any man among you seem to be religious and bridleth not his tongue, meaning he only speak truth, because there's no deceit in the mouth of the elect, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is vain. All right. So these Christians, their religion is vain, because if they were even wise, they would read the scriptures. And the scripture tells you, in fact, I was myself before I came into the truth, the water for the scriptures, brothers, the water. When I was in the Christian church, before I learned the truth, I was actually being raised up in the levels I was doing like counseling and all this stuff. And when I start hearing the higher levels, they said they don't want no Bible thumper. I was like, I thought that's the whole point of us being here. And I didn't know what precepts were, but I was using the internet at that time, and they would print out, these apps, they print out precepts for you. And back then I was like, dang, it's like it's talking to me, But I didn't know it was called precepts until later I came into the truth. And then you learn these things, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. All right. Let's see what scripture the brother put on. All right, brother Zebulon, Shalom, Yahawashi, Yahawashi, Brakatah. And it says in Malachi 3, verse 16, then they that feared Yahawah spake often one to another through the internet. It says, and Yahawah hearkened and heard it because it's his word. Speaking of his son Yahawashi. It says, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahawah and that thought upon his name. See, and that's what we're doing right now. We're thinking about his name, thinking upon what he's coming to do with the son. He's going to send his son back to judge this world. Malachi 4, verse 1. It says in Malachi 4, verse 1, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahawah of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son, Yahawashi, of righteousness, which his coming is going to be brighter than the sun, arise with healing in his wings, which this starts with comforting us through his word. He comforts us by his Holy Spirit through the word of Yahawah. And ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. Even though the Edomites have a plan of a conspiracy to slaughter the Israelites, the Lord's going to deliver us. You see, that's our hope, and he gave us our hope. See, we're thinking on his name because he's thinking about us. That's why it said, don't rejoice that these demons obey you, but that your name is in heaven. Luke 10, verse 20, notwithstanding, in this rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven. See? Rejoice that your names are written in heaven. And that's why you're thinking on Yahawah and his son Yahawashi. See? Because his mercy endureth and forever. So even though these Edomites are planning on coming down with great wrath, right? What did he say in Isaiah 54? No weapon that is formed against us shall prosper. Isaiah 54, verse 17, no weapon that includes the wicked, the Edomite. He's a weapon of mass destruction. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahawah, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahawah. And that's why we got to be praying daily and putting curses on this place. All right, the Lord rebuke you, Edom. All praises and glory to Yahawah. And I'm thankful just to be part of it too, brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful to Yahawah to be part of this truth also. It says, violating pretty much the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Yet the previous administration engaged in an let's see what that word is there. And that's a prophecy being fulfilled right there, that I got this tablet to be able to do it, and these cameras and all that, the internet. It says in the last days that the knowledge would increase. But that word is egregious, and it's meaning egregious. conspicuous, distinguished. So distinguished pattern of targeting peaceful Christians while ignoring violent anti-Christian offenses. The Biden Department of Justice, so let's jump down to what they're doing now. So it says, my administration, talking about under Trump, will not tolerate anti-Christian weaponization of government or unlawful conduct targeting Christians. The law protects the freedom of Americans and groups of Americans to practice their faith in peace, and my administration will enforce the law and protect these freedoms. My administration will ensure that any unlawful and improper conduct, policies, or practices that target Christians are identified, terminated, and rectified. It says establishing a task force to eradicate bias. And that word task force it has teeth on it. Let's look in the law meaning. Sometimes when you're reading these documents like that, you got to go into a law dictionary to see what these words mean. So it says, nationalpolice.org, a task force is a temporary grouping of people under one leader for the purpose of accomplishing a definite objective. In law enforcement, task forces are usually created to focus on a specific set of violations, such as narcotics violations, money laundering, and crimes against children. Task forces are also used in government and or businesses to solve a particular problem. So the hunt is on, and Jake is the prey. The so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian. All right, you're the prey. It says, there is hereby established within the Department of Justice the task force to eradicate, which let's get that word eradicate. Eradicate is a transitive verb that means to do away with as completely as if by pulling up by the roots, which it says that these devils wanted to do that to us. And that's why, once again, Isaiah 54:17, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahawah, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahawah. Which they're coming down with great wrath, knowing that they have but a short time. All right, but they're going to find themselves fighting against the Lord. All right. So once again, in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 12, therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous. This is the reasoning of the ungodly, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objected to our infamy, the transgressings of our education. See, so they want to come down with great wrath on us because we teach the truth. which it tells you in Psalm 83. Psalm 83. It says in verse 1, a song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. And when you go into that word power, all right, it says El, which is a short form of Allah. All right, which is Allah. Allah. Which in the English or the Spanish, like in the name of Michael, all right, El, Rafi Al, all right, that's Allah. Rafi Al, Michael, the El is Allah. And what does it mean? It says God, godlike one, mighty men, angels, right? Which that's the point. It's the Elohim that were in the beginning, which are the elect today. All right. So the Lord's going to move his men to bring out this truth, which that's in, let me grab that, in Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahawashi HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him. And that's what we're doing. We're gathering the Israelites unto Yahawashi, and he's bringing them to Yahawah. See, he's going to deliver us and bring us washed in his blood before Yahawah. Verse 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, which happened. We lost who we were. And that man of sin be revealed, which he's being revealed right now. The son of perdition, which America is going to go into destruction. The kingdom of Edom, the so-called white race, they're going to go into destruction. Going back to Psalm 83, it says, verse 2, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, talking about the Israelites, and consulted against thy hidden ones, starting with the so-called American Negro, the tribe of Judah. All right? They have it out for us. There's a target on our back. All right? It says they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. You see? They don't say this about the Israelis. They're talking about the Israelites. All right? It says that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white race, and the Ishmaelites of Moab. Moab is China, dealing with Asia, and Ishmaelites are the Arabs that are in that continent of Asia. And the Hagarenes, which is another form of the Arab, Gebal, another form of Edom, the so-called white race, and Ammon, the Japanese, and Amalek, the small hats, the counterfeits that are in our land, the Philistines, the Hamites, the so-called Africans, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur, the Assyrians, also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, the sons of Lot. Ammon and Moab, if you look it up, they're the number one owner of America's debt. All right? They own all the bonds of America, the majority of them. Not all of them, but the majority. All right? So they have hope in the sons of Lot. Say, Lot, meditate on this. All right? But the Lord's going to bring a small number out that he's gathered unto his son, Yahawashi, which are his elect. Now, going back into that eradicating anti-Christian bias, all right, it says establishing the task force which right here, Section 5, termination. The task force shall be terminate 2 years from the date of this order unless extended by the president. So they're going to, they'll keep it going. All right, so I'm going to read Section 3. It says task force functions. The task force shall meet as required by the chair and shall take appropriate action to reveal the activities of all executive departments and agencies, including the Department of State, the Department of Justice, including the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, the Department of Labor, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Department of Education, and the Department of Homeland Security, and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission over the previous administration, and identify any unlawful anti-Christian policies, practices, or conduct by an agency contrary to the purpose and policy of this order. So them firing all those people, they terminated all those employees, all right, which were, majority of them were Jake, all right? And so this shows you that the equal employment opportunity is done with. The commission is out of there. Because you got to remember, Trump is saying that DEI, right, for you to be able to have some form of civil rights, it oppresses the so-called white race, right? So they want to get rid of that. It says recommend to the head of the relevant agency steps to revoke or terminate any violative policies, practices, or conduct identified under subsection 3AI of this section, and remedial actions to fulfill the purpose and policy of this order. Share information and develop strategies to protect the religious liberties of Americans and advance the purpose and policy of this order. Solicit information and ideas. Do you understand? Solicit information and ideas. That word solicit.
Solicit.
Ask for or try to obtain something from someone, right? Accost someone and offer one's or someone else's services as a prostitute. See, so that they're gonna come in with deception, all right, to try to entrap Israelites, all right? It says information and ideas from a broad range of individuals and groups, including Americans affected by anti-Christian conduct, faith-based organizations. Once again, solicit information and ideas from a broad range of individuals and groups, including Americans affected by anti-Christian conduct, faith-based organizations. See, so they're going to put agents in the camps, which they already got them. They already got agents all throughout the camps. See? So it says, and state and local and tribal governments in order to ensure that its work is informed by a broad spectrum of ideas and experiences. So they're gonna try to pretty much join these religious groups, including the Israelites. All right, faith based organizations, and they're gonna look to see if they could condemn you with what you're saying, which is prophetic. All right, it says in Revelation 12, which they're going to learn, which they already know that they have but a short time. Revelation 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, which includes us. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, the so called white man, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. See? And that's why they're making the moves they are. In chess, all right, if you ever play chess, you're trying to not let the people know what you're intending to do in the future, right? Your moves are supposed to be thought out, moves ahead. You know, you're supposed to be looking into the future of the moves. All right. Well, they're just showing their shame. They're just revealing themselves. Why? Because they're at their end. All right. They're pretty much panicking. All right. Their allies are becoming enemies. Their enemies are becoming more powerful than them. All right. So these Edomites are panicking. All right. It says in verse 12, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Let's go into the NLT. It says, therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who live in the heavens. Rejoice, but terror will come on the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you in great anger, knowing that he has but a little time. Which it tells you in Malachi 1, all right, this is the MO, all right, of the so-called white race. MO meaning, it says, the way of operating, modus operandi, it says in Malachi 1 verse 3, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons and it says, and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness, which he's going to nuke America. He's going to have the allies and the enemies of America shoot nuclear missiles on America after they make that implantable microchip mandatory for buying and selling worldwide. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places, which are going to cause the desolation. Thus saith Yahawah of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahawah hath indignation forever. And your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, Yahawah will be magnified from the border of Israel. All right, so going back to that White House document, all right, which is in Eradicating Anti-Christian Bias Executive Order from February 6, 2025, the year that we hope for judgment. All right, the destruction of the oppressor and the salvation of the Israelite. It says, identify deficiencies in existing laws and enforcement and regulatory practices that have contributed to unlawful anti-Christian governmental or private conduct. Or private conduct. See, they try to make it sound like they're only going to go into the tentacles of the government, but it said right there, it says, or private conduct. So they're going to come into the people where the people are. All right. It says, and recommend to the relevant agency head or recommend to the president through the deputy chief of staff for policy and the assistant to the president for domestic policy as applicable appropriate actions that agencies may take to remedy failures to fully enforce the law against acts of anti-Christian hostility, vandalism. What is vandalism? The signs we hold. Let me get it. These signs that we hold. So some of the signs they'll have the horns on the head and all that. Let's see. See, like this, where we show you the true image of Yahawashi, they don't like that. They don't like that. All right? When we show you who the Israelites are, they don't like that. Right? See, they don't like that. See, so that's going to be a crime. All right? That's going to be a crime to show the truth. See? It's going to be a crime to show the truth in America and really throughout the whole world that the Messiah is a so-called black man and the Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians of North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbeans. All right? So going back, let's see if they got any more in here. It says, and violence, which, we got images that we show of them going into slavery. All right? Right. And they're coming down with great wrath, knowing that they have but a short time. It says, and recommend to the president through the deputy chief of staff for policy and the assistants to the president for domestic policy any additional presidential or legislative action necessary to rectify past improper anti-Christian conduct, protect religious liberty, which is a lie, because they said they're gonna attack any religious group that speaks against the Christian false religion. It says, or otherwise fulfill the purpose and policy of this order. It says the department, this is in Sector 4, Section 4, the Department of Justice shall provide such funding and administrative and technical support as the task force may require to the extent permitted by law and as authorized by existing appropriations. Let's see, what are anti-Christian laws? I'm gonna ask that. And you know what's heavy is, we've been calling them antichrist, starting with the elder, apostle elder Tahar. That they're antichrist in their doctrine. And now they're coming with this anti-Christian bias, which we know who they're really talking about. Let's see. So I was trying to see what are these anti-Christian laws, but they don't really have nothing on it. Saying that this is from Legal Information Institute, www.lawcornell.edu, education, Constitution, talking about the constitutional law. And it says that the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievance, right? Which it says the Supreme Court has recognized that the Free Exercise Clause protects religious observers against unequal treatment. See? But they're changing it because they're forked tongues. They're forked tongue devils. All right? It says Executive Order 14202, eradicating anti-Christian bias. It says seeks to safeguard religious freedoms by prioritizing protecting Christian religious practices within government institutions, which I already read from the White House. They're going to go into the private sector too. It highlights the administration's commitment to ensuring that Christians are not subjected to discrimination, emphasizing religious expression in public policy. The order, what is that? Public policy? Let's see. It says public policy is an institutionalized proposal or a decided set of elements like laws, regulations, guidelines, and actions to solve or address relevant and real world problems, guided by conception and often implemented by programs. See, public policy. Yep, it goes into, it says economic policy, bureaucracy, social policy, public administration, and health policy. So it says this is from mccourt.georgetown.edu. It says, what is public policy? Georgetown University McCourt School of Public Policy explains what public policy is and how it plays a role in in our everyday lives. In our everyday lives, from ensuring access to healthy foods and high quality health care to limiting the impact of climate change. See, so it affects a lot of things, this public policy. And that's what he's going to do, this devil. He's going to make it mandatory that everyone have an implantable microchip, which is Revelation 13. Verse 15, and he had power to give life to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, which they're going to make it to where if you don't get down with their system, the beast system, they're going to put you to death. All right? And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, and free and bond, to receive a mark. That mark is the implantable microchip in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name, which you get in the implanting of that microchip. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, that so-called white race, and his number is 636, which is Chi Xi Stigma. All right, which that 666, it goes into the history of them developing that implantable microchip. All right. But we're going to be delivered by Yahawashi. It says in Revelation 12 and verse 10, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of all power, which I thought about that earlier and it came back to me. The gates of hell shall not prevail. Matthew 16, verse 18, and I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. See, so it's already set up who's going to win, and we're going to win. We're going to overcome the devil, the so-called white man, and his beast system and his implantable microchip by Yahawashi. It says in Revelation 12, verse 10, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren, which is that red devil, the so-called white race, is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death, because some of us may be put to death for our faith. Revelation 3, verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, Yahawashi is speaking, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation which shall come upon the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Revelation 2, verse 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And remember that if that happens to you, you're only there to be proven, all right, that your faith is in Yahawah Yahawashi. It says, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful to who? Yahawah Yahawashi unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. A shalom to the elect, wa abba babal. All praises and glory to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi Bahasham Ha Rakah Kodash. Double honors to our apostle elders, which ruled great millstone while, which taught us the truth. And shalom to the elect, wa abba babal. Endure, brothers.